Mark, the light at the top of Luxor is burning bright once again, or should I say, not as bright as it used to be. It's been shut off for a while, and they turned it back on, and it's so dim, like it doesn't even compare to the way it was before. More Vegas cost cutting, I guess.
Well, do you think it's like one of those parking lights when they first come on? It takes like an hour or two to rev up, but since this is a big light, it takes a week or two. I don't, I don't know, but
Yeah.
did they replace the 150-watt bulb with the 60-watt bulb? What's going
I
on
think
there?
I think that's what they did. I don't know what happened. It's clearly not as bright as it was before. And I wonder, like with all of these casinos, like the lands getting sold out from under them, and like how somebody brought this up on Twitter. And I don't know that this applies to Luxor. I'm sure it's MGM who cut this back, but with real estate investment trusts owning the land and operators owning the casinos, like how do they do the infrastructure investments? It's kind of an interesting question. I don't know the answer to how they split that, but yeah, it's not good. Not a good look at all. The Luxor light needs to burn bright, and I remember growing up, they said you could see it if you were on an airplane flying in from Los Angeles. We need that back again.
Yeah, I wonder if the Sphere is, they're like, hey, everybody's going to be looking at the Sphere pretty soon. This $2 billion ball that looks exactly like a normal theater inside. It doesn't look that different, but that's going to be all lit up. And they're like, well, let's save some money because nobody's going to be paying attention to the pyramid anymore. I don't know. But
Well, they did add those LEDs a few years ago on the outside that change colors and do a whole show. So that is an improvement. So good on them for doing that. And hopefully, maybe this is just a temporary thing. Maybe to your point, they're just testing out the new lighting, and it'll go full blast at some point. Let's hope that it does. We have a lot of Raiders stuff to talk about. The incredible Monday Night Football game. I headed over to the Pinball Museum, so let's get into the show. A lot to talk about. If you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe, smash the thumbs up button. Mark and I are in the comments, so we'd love to discuss anything we talk about here. And we also have our MtM Vegas podcast. For all of our Vegas content, just head to mtmvegas.com. Let's talk about that incredible Monday Night Football game for the Raiders. I was down at the stadium. I was down at the pregame, and I couldn't go because I had to pick up Ellie from school. And man, did I regret not getting to see that game. It was just an incredible way for the Raiders to start in-person games. I know they played an entire season last year in that stadium without fans, but not quite the same.
yeah, I mean, that's the way to kick it off. And it was cool that they got Monday Night Football to open up the stadium, and can't ask for a better game. Overtime, last minute fumbles, big plays, long passes to win the game type of thing. So it went as good as you could. And I had the Raiders in a teaser, so I should have done it money line teaser, or well, you can't tease a money line, but I should have bet a money line instead of teasing it. But hey, I still won.
I was talking to a friend who works for the Raiders, and I was telling him how Mark Davis, how much he's won by bringing the Raiders here. And he thought I was talking about, just getting the government money and stuff. But no, the Raiders, the value of that organization has multiplied quite a lot. And I think he's worth over $500 million now. Although that didn't stop him from heading to Virgin Hotels this week and winning $1,800 at the machines. He is really a local celebrity. Mark Davis showing up everywhere. And he's such a recognizable person that I expect that
terrible hair.
Because of his haircut, for sure. But yeah, the big news, TMZ covered it this week, Mark, that he won $1,800 at Virgin Hotels. He looked quite happy to do that. But it's good to see him settling in here, even if his Raiders house is quite ugly.
Yeah, I wonder if he went to Virgin because he wanted like that private gaming experience and not to be bothered. So he's like, hey, let's go to Virgin, where at 11 o'clock, there's probably like 4 people in there.
Oh man, the shade, the shade. All right, let's talk about the little bit about the Raiders pregame experience. So I was able to go to the Bud Light Beer Garden, which is MGM's free tailgate at Luxor. It sits on the kind of the front parking lot on the Strip side. I'll throw up lots of video here that I took. I was there a little bit early, so it wasn't quite hopping the way that you would expect closer to game time. I was there about 2 hours before game time. But yeah, it's a really nice space, free to get in. Of course, food and drinks are, going to be pretty pricey. But, there were snacks, things like that, $15. Drinks are going to be right around there as well. But a really nice place to hang out. And it was really kind of nice to see how MGM has set up the entire area. They have a new exit from Mandalay Bay that goes right out to the road to Hacienda that goes across the stadium. Lots of, music and stages. So they are, despite the fact that they don't have a true tailgate experience, I mean, this really is a good substitute, even though it's not going to be cheap once you buy drinks and stuff. But I mean, I was in Green Bay a few years ago, and prices were about the same, not really any different. So expensive.
Do you have to pay to get in as well, on top of paying for drinks and everything?
No, so MGM does this for free, and there was music. The music wasn't blasting, so you could actually talk and stuff like that. It's fairly typical to kind of these tailgate parties I've seen for other sports events, and I thought they did a really good job. Of course, the Sphinx has his big Raiders eye patch on him, overlooking the entire thing, which was really nice. We'll talk about Caesars a little bit later, how they sort of dogged the Raiders a little bit with their Caesar dress up. But yeah, it was all overall very fun, good atmosphere. A lot of no fighting. A lot of Ravens fans there.
You left too early. The fighting happened after. But
yeah,
then you get ready to go to the game and you walk across the highway, right?
You do walk across the highway. So the thing I wanted to test out too was parking for MLife Elites on game day, and I was able to park with my gold card for free. Parking otherwise would have been $50 at Mandalay Bay. So I parked in their garage. The Luxor garage was closed. It was for hotel guests only. And so I think my choices were Excalibur or Mandalay Bay. Mandalay Bay really close to that, and maybe a 5-7 minute walk across. And like I said, they have an exit from Mandalay Bay that goes right out to the street. The shops at Mandalay Place are a great place. Re-Raw is a great pub if you want to go have some beers before the game and you want to avoid the tailgate. So yeah, overall, very good, and good news for locals or all those people out there who have the MLife Elite stuff. You can avoid all those crazy parking things. And as much as people want to talk about how there's not a lot of parking at the stadium, that Mandalay Bay lot, I mean, like I said, 5 to 7 minute walk, that's as close as pretty much any stadium you're going to get. I mean, it's not far at all. So a big win for hackers who have casino status. Free parking.
Yeah, which you can get if you have, higher end status. You can match it to MLife and get gold status. That's how Shawn has it. That's how I get it. So you don't have to gamble necessarily if you stay at hotels quite a bit. But, the interesting thing would be leaving Mandalay Bay. Like, how's that parking? I've never parked there because I don't ever rent a car when I'm in Vegas. Do you think it's like a zoo getting out, kind of backed up? I know Ryan Flanagan, who was on the podcast with us a couple episodes ago, said he parks at certain places because other one, he works at Venetian, but he said the parking there is terrible. So he'll actually park at a Caesars property because he just gets stuck trying to get out if he's at the Venetian. So I'm kind of curious, do you think the flow would be good coming out?
I think Mandalay Bay would be fairly decent. I was kind of looking at traffic yesterday. It wasn't all that bad coming out. It's still going to take a little bit of time, but they have several different exits. And then, of course, police everywhere closing off roads, directing traffic. So there are fairly easy ways to get stuff, but there are only a limited number of ways to get onto the freeway and stuff. So that always will be a problem there. But I don't know that there's a better place to park unless you want to walk, like you could park at MGM Grand, head across to Excalibur, take the tram over to Mandalay Bay and walk across. So, or to Luxor. So you could do different things if you want to do that. Speaking of trams, they were running both the trams, which was really nice to see. I was able to ride the tram between Mandalay Bay and Excalibur and do all that fun stuff. So that's back up and running, fully running for game days, which is good too.
Or you could just have Uber drop you off on the side of the highway, and then you're good to go,
yes,
right?
Exactly. Uber, yeah, that was crazy. We saw reports of that. Uber dropping people off on the side of the highway. The police had to say, stop it. More terrible videos with sound. The sound in that stadium is just abysmal. Oh my God. Ice Cube was performing at halftime, and I saw people's videos from in the stadium, and the echo was just, they really have a lot of work to do there. But overall, an incredible first win with fans there to show off the stadium, to show off this season, to show off this team. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge Packers fan. That's never going to change. But my love for the Raiders did grow a little bit yesterday watching that game. I did buy in just a little bit, and it was good to see the NFL in town with a full experience. It was weird, though, that everybody's trying to pretend that the Raiders didn't play in Las Vegas last year. This isn't their first year in Las Vegas. This is their second year. The other thing I was able to do after that entire game experience or pre-game experience was go to the Pinball Hall of Fame, which is a brand new location right on the Strip. We've talked about it before. It's right across from the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, not far from Mandalay Bay. basically at the intersection of Russell and Las Vegas Boulevard. And really good. Really enjoyed it. A big improvement over their old facility, basically a big warehouse. Lots of those cool pinball machines and a lot of other interesting games. They seem to be mixing in newer games too. So if you like new stuff, old stuff, all that goodness. That Donald Duck thing from Disneyland, though, Mark, the plastic melting thing that it has, is out of order. I was really heartbroken there.
Popcorn though, was the popcorn running?
I didn't smell the popcorn. I looked for it, didn't see it, so I can't guarantee they did. I didn't smell it, so I don't think that they had the popcorn. But they had air conditioning. It was not hot in there.
Good. Yeah,
yes,
that's good.
that was a big improvement.
Is it still like? Do they keep it really dark like they used to show off the machines, or is it lit up now?
It's a big warehouse building, kind of, and so it felt pretty bright and open. I mean, there's not any windows or anything, but there's enough light coming in that it didn't feel dark in there like the old building. The old building just
remember they used to wear like the headlamps and walk around the workers because they wanted to really show off the. I don't know if it was that or to save money on the light. I don't know, but it was. I mean, it was kind of unique. You don't go to arcades much where people were wearing headlamps to get around when they're working on machines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I don't. Maybe at night though they'd keep it darker. I don't know, but definitely recommend people go over there if you're on the Strip. It's so easy to get to now, and they have a lot of cool older machines, a lot of newer machines, these really cool new pinball machines that have come out. And the cost of everything is basically the cost when it came out. So if it's a really old machine, it's usually a quarter. You know, pinball machines from 10, 15, 20 years ago are usually 50 cents, and then newer ones $1 or more. But definitely enjoy that, and I feel like it's finally gotten to the place where it needs to be on the Strip in the quarter, out of that old terrible building without air conditioning or with the terrible air conditioning. And I'm really happy for them. Congratulate to the Pinball Hall of Fame, and they're putting up a giant sign too. So more stuff to come, but you can't miss the big front of that building. It just says Pinball in giant red letters. Like
kind of like a bowling alley, but instead of bowling, it says pinball.
There you go. I guess. Thanks for ruining it.
Something you've never seen before, unless you like bowling.
It's bigger, though. These letters are big. I don't know how to describe it. It's just
a really big bowling.
They're not fancy, but they're big. All right. All right, let's talk about some other stuff. Caesars, we talked about how they bought William Hill for a little over $4 billion. They talked about how William Hill wasn't spending enough money. They weren't unprofitable enough, so they were going to make sure that William Hill started being unprofitable. That's a little joke Mark and I have because they said they weren't spending enough money. But they have now sold off the William Hill brand. So they bought the company, basically took the U.S. assets, rebranded it as Caesars Sportsbook, and then sold off the William Hill international part for about $3 billion. So it looks like they basically paid about $1 billion to get Caesars Sportsbook.
I wonder if just, and I know William Hill was an international based company, I think UK. So, was the US just not a big portion of their portfolio? And it just seems weird. Like you think they would have teamed up with somebody when they did the purchase and just split it off right then. They bought it and then 5 months later they sell off the bigger portion of it. It's kind of a weird setup, but that just goes with Vegas buying and selling all kinds of random stuff these days.
I'm wondering if they did have some sort of an arrangement set up because they did have to complete the purchase, rebrand what they wanted to, and everything else. The company that takes over is based in Gibraltar, so and they're an online gaming company. I expect that they're going to keep the William Hill brand, and as we've seen here in the U.S., the Caesars Sportsbook brand is everywhere. But I do have a bone to pick
everywhere
with them.
Except for Carl. You can't have any Carl. Have you seen those commercials with Pat and Oswalt yet?
I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that one.
So he's like, wait, everybody gets $5,000 Caesar's money or whatever, and JB Smooth's like, yeah, everybody except for Carl. There's another one too, but that one was my favorite. So we should make T-shirts that say "except for Carl."
Except for Carl. There you go. I love JB Smooth. He's one of my favorite comedians. So I think they knocked it out of the park picking him to be in that advertising campaign. One thing that Caesars did terribly though is they decided to dress Caesar up for football season, which isn't required, right? They could just leave Caesar alone. But if you're going to dress Caesar up for football season, you got to put a Raiders jersey on him. You can't put a generic NFL jersey, but that's what they did. They dressed Caesar up in a generic NFL jersey. I'm guessing because of their deal with the Saints. They have the naming rights for the Superdome in New Orleans. What do you think is the reason for their hatred of the Las
Or
Vegas
maybe
Raiders?
because MGM already had Raiders stuff up, so they're like, nah, we're gonna be different. I don't know. That's what I would assume. The naming rights thing, they're big in New Orleans, so maybe they're just worried about that, or maybe it's in their contract. I don't know, but it does seem weird that they wouldn't support the city, or at least you could put a black, silver and black jersey on there without it saying Raiders. You can play that part kind of like the old Super Nintendo football games where they had all the team colors and numbers, but they didn't say the right team name, like the New York Arrogants or something.
I mean, and your point is right. MGM is the main sponsor of the Raiders as far as gaming companies go. So that is their competition. But hey, you're in Las Vegas. If you decide to put a jersey on him, it should be a Raiders jersey. It shouldn't be just a generic jersey. I'll get off my soapbox now. Caesar, and they also have a sponsorship at the stadium. They have their own entry, a Caesar's Rewards entry into the stadium. So it's not like their name isn't anywhere around the Raiders. But
Or put a jersey that says Caesars on it.
there you go,
That's
a black and silver.
black
There you
and
go.
silver that says Caesars. Yeah, they should hire us.
Absolutely. All right. Speaking of people that should hire us, Resorts World should hire us to construct their pools because apparently last night one of their pools had a giant leak in it, and we saw video like the whole lobby area of the the Hilton was flooded, and people had to take service elevators up to the Conrad and then use service doors to get over to the Hilton side. And apparently, Resorts World says it came from one of the pools on the fifth floor, which is where all of their pools are. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't seem terrible. It was like a few inches of water, so it's not like the whole pool.
Yeah, it wasn't
collapsed.
it wasn't like Lake Link when it rains, down in the parking structure. So it wasn't terrible, but it's still annoying. Even if you take the service elevators up to your room, the next day if they're still not fixed, how do you get back down? Do you have to kind of wind your way back through? You don't have somebody helping you, assisting you to take those elevators like you would going up, most likely. So it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
not
it's a new
something.
pool. How do you have a new pool break?
It's just construction, I guess. I mean, it's certainly obviously not something that they planned for, but hopefully they were able to clean it up overnight because it happened fairly late, right after the Raiders game, and hopefully they're able to get that. The other thing about Resorts World I wanted to talk about was Vegas Introvert, who he has a Facebook group, so I'm gonna plug that because he plugged it in his tweet. But he says that he was able to get Resorts World to match a Luxor offer, including the free play and food and beverage offer. So he says that he's going to have the whole details in his Facebook group if you want to join that. But he managed to get them to match Luxor, so that pretty much opens the door up to offers from just about any casino, I'd say, if they're going to match Luxor.
That's cool. Like if you have a lower end casino, like let's say Luxor. I mean, Luxor's not bad, but it's not in the greatest part of the strip. But if you have something for like Circus, will they now match it? You're in the same area, and you definitely don't want to be staying there, but they might have a good free play / free nights, and then you match it over. So definitely worth checking out. If you want to check out the property, might as well do it for free.
The problem is you got to get rated at Circus and actually play there enough to get an offer.
Maybe we'll talk about Cromwell because you don't like it, so you wouldn't want to stay there. So you go to Resorts World, which you're crazy because Cromwell's the best.
Well, it definitely is not the best. What is the best is Main Street Station, and it reopened. And there
Look
was
at that segue. Woo!
Yeah, and we know it's the best. Everybody on Vegas Twitter
Best beer.
was
Best beer.
was really loving it. Mark just likes the beer. I like the snooker table, the Berlin Wall, all the history, and just the vibe of the place. But good to see it reopened, and the really interesting history of that property. A lot of people don't know that it was opened as a Holiday Inn. It's had several different names over the years, had several different closures for multiple periods of years at a time. So this is just one of many closures in its history, but it's good to see it back. Vegas Advantage did a great article, and we'll put a link in the description talking about all the differences from before they closed, removing some games, removing of the coin slots, some bad stuff, but some good stuff. The buffet is reopened. The brewery is reopened, Mark, with limited hours as well. So, I mean, it's just good to have Main Street Station back, especially now with Circa there. We're back up to, I think, 12 casinos downtown. So that hasn't happened in a few years. So great news. And good
Yeah,
job, Vegas Advantage. Good job on that guide. I just want to say he
it's
did an amazing job.
yeah, they do good work there. It it's sad to see how many machine. It seems like they ripped out a lot of tables and put in, kind of as we've seen Vegas starting to go more to machines, and even table games going to the video experience, video tabletop. Big stadium style seating. So they didn't have a huge table pit to begin with. So if you like table games, that could be an issue finding a seat on busy Friday, Saturday nights type of thing. So I hate seeing table games going away because it's always hard to find a seat as it is on a busy weekend. But maybe it works better for them, more profitable. I don't know.
Yeah, they're down to a total of 8 table games left at Main Street
That's
Station.
insane. I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever
that's
been in a casino that has 8. Much
oh,
less Vegas.
there's more and more of them now. I mean, I think California, the sister property, took out a lot of table games. We of course you said we've seen these stadium gaming things coming. Saw a huge installation going into El Cortez, and it's just gonna be everywhere. These machines are, I mean, in the course of just a couple of years, the entire look of the casino floor is going to be changed with all of these digital, table game machines. And yeah, it's sad to see that, but Main Street Station back open. That's the good news. The buffet has been getting pretty good reviews. It's twice as expensive as it used to be, though. So
Instead of trying to find, casinos that still have the coin operated machines where you get the ching, 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 pretty soon it's going to be like, hey, where's the casino that still has the table games that we can play?
oh man, yeah, the good old days where there was actual table games and you could sit across from a dealer.
Which is crazy because all the high rollers that they're going after, most of them play table games. So I don't get it. But
I think they see this more as
room.
more as a different market segment. And I think in some casinos they're taking out slot machines in order to put these, but slot machines are very profitable. So I think you're going to see more balance there, but it's definitely going to continue to happen. And it's going to be every casino top to bottom. And of course, you'll see some of these local casinos probably hold out longer than others, but I think they want to capture those younger gamers, the people who play video games, the people who didn't grow up going to table games, and just as the demographic switch will happen. But every casino is doing it, and it's just not really a news story, I guess, anymore. But 8 live table games at Main Street Station is quite shocking. One other shocking thing, Mark, another good transition or not, but Sahara finally opened up their Azilo Ultra pool, and
Poor man Circa.
yeah, well, it basically is, but I feel bad for Sahara. This is September now that they're opening this pool, so it definitely you can tell it got delayed. They've had some delays on opening their new restaurants along the Strip frontage. The place is really nice. They've spent a lot of money. It's high end. It's moving towards that high end area. This pool, to your point, it does definitely have Circa Stadium Swim vibes, big TV screens, things like that. It's definitely competitive. Really looks really nice.
It seems so small though, like so cramped, and the pool is really tiny. Like there wasn't a ton of people in the promo video, and the pool looked packed. So if you've seen pictures of Circa Stadium Swim or you've been there, you know that they have different tiers of pool. It's basically like one of those pools, not like a whole tier, but just one of those in the tier. Because usually, the tiers have like a pool on each side. So it's like one side of those, one pool. That's what they have at Sahara. They still have the big screen, but it just seems like it's going to be cramped. But maybe they don't have as many people there. And I have Circa built up in my mind, the Circa Swim. When we visited it, it was off season. It was early on. There wasn't a lot of people, so it was awesome to check out and kind of just chill and relax in that vibe. But now it's like packed every weekend. They're selling out for NFL Sundays, and it's just like wall to wall bodies, which isn't my scene. I like more like chill, relax. So if you're into that, maybe go off season or whatever. But maybe Sahara can kind of fill that void. If it isn't as busy, you can get somewhat of the same experience without being people everywhere like it is at Circa Swim.
I think you make lots of good points there. Sahara they do have another pool area, so the space that they had for this isn't all that big. But I do think we're going to see more and more of these screens. So you're going to start seeing screens pop out around pool areas in Vegas. That's my prediction over the next year or two to try to compete with Stadium Swim. And this one does look nice.
Yeah, I kept seeing Circa Swim, Stadium Swim.
That's all right. But yeah, Stadium Swim, I think, when we went out there the first night, I've been back there a couple more times. It's really incredible. It's an incredible thing. It's very simple, right? It's a rooftop pool with a big screen, but yeah, it works. It's a really great place to watch sports. And the circification of the sports books is going to happen. You're going to start seeing sports books putting up bigger and bigger screens, I think, and changing the way they do it. And you're also going to see that the same happen to the pool areas as well. And the Sahara one is
charging
the first example.
for all of it. Charging.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Bigger money, man. Revenue.
I know,
per
but
guest.
there are some sports books you go into that still have like the tube TVs, and you're like, really, come on, like let's move this along a bit. So that will be a good thing. They haven't invested in a lot of these sports books for quite some time, so it'll be interesting to see, and they're bringing in the digital. Some places will probably just get rid of the sports book and put in the machines that you can bet at instead to save money there, versus revamping it all. I imagine so. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see over the next 3-4 years what changes and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's interesting. We see two different concepts, right? You see the Circa mega sportsbook concept that they sort of took, I guess, from Westgate's Superbook. I guess that was sort of the first of those types of books. But then you also see this Resorts World style where you have it inside of a restaurant or a bar or another venue. And so you see both of those styles. And that's probably where we'll end up with one or the other in a lot of these places. And sports betting isn't going anywhere. That's for sure.
It's going online.
Wow, that's true. And to the app, but that's a discussion for another time. But
precursor to our podcast that we talk about online betting.
Yes. This week we're talking about online gaming. So check out the podcast, mtmvegas.com, for all of our Vegas stuff. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the Raiders, any of these topics at all. We'll see you guys in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you next week.